Finally, this evening, we're remembering superstar Kenny Rogers, the man they called the Gambler. Kevin Tibbles has a look back at this legendary career.
In the country music world,
it's always remember Kenny Rogers, the man with a soulful voice, the white beard, and the songs that touched hearts across the world. He was a music legend, selling over 100 million records, winning awards, and leaving a lasting mark on millions. Yet behind the fame was a man who carried deep pain, failed marriages, broken friendships, and a childhood filled with struggle. Born on August 21st, 1938, in Houston, Texas, Kenny was the fourth of 8 children. His mother, Lucille, worked as a nurse's assistant, while his father, Edward, was a carpenter who battled alcoholism. The family lived in government housing and often struggled to put food on the table, surviving on peanut butter sandwiches when nothing else was available. Despite hardship, Kenny pushed forward, becoming the first in his family to graduate high school in 1956, while working odd jobs to help make ends meet. His musical spark appeared early, winning a talent show at the Texan Theater in 1949, hinting at the extraordinary career ahead. But poverty left a lasting mark, and Kenny never forgot those who helped him along the way. Decades later, when he learned that a former neighbor who once helped pay his rent was struggling, he quietly sent her $20,000 with a note of gratitude. That humility and loyalty endeared him even more to fans. His deep friendship with Dolly Parton also grew from shared hardship, both turning pain into artistry and hope. Yet, one wound stayed with him for life: his father's drinking. In his memoir, Luck or Something Like It, Kenny admitted he avoided alcohol entirely out of fear he might inherit the same struggles. He never truly understood why his father drank, only realizing too late that the weight of poverty and post-war unemployment had broken him down. That regret haunted Kenny, but it also gave him compassion. He channeled his experiences into music, friendships, and even photography, using his lens to see people with empathy rather than judgment. His journey was not just about fame, but about survival, resilience, and connection. Though his final years were marked by illness kept away from the spotlight, his legacy remains one of humility, strength, and a voice that carried both pain and hope in equal measure. Kenny Rogers' music career began with psychedelic hits, but his journey stretched back to the late 1950s when he first started chasing his musical dreams. His solo song That Crazy Feeling drew some attention in 1957, but when the buzz faded, Kenny kept pushing forward. He joined a jazz group called the Bobby Doyle Three, which gained a loyal following and even secured a deal with Columbia Records before breaking up in 1965. Not ready to quit, Kenny recorded his That Rainy Day with Mercury Records in 1966, though it failed to chart. During that period, he also worked behind the scenes, writing, producing, and playing for artists like Mickey Gilley and Eddie Arnold. In 1966, he joined the folk group the New Christy Minstrels, singing and playing bass, but when the group's success fell short, Kenny and 3 others, Mike Settle, Terry Williams, and Thelma Camacho, formed the first edition in 1967. With the addition of Ken Vassie, the band found success, particularly with their hit Just Dropped In, To See What Condition My Condition Was In, a psychedelic anthem that showcased Kenny's deep voice and later appeared in The Big Lebowski. As the band evolved toward country music with songs like Ruby, Don't Take Your Love to Town, and Reuben James, Kenny gradually became its central figure. When the group dissolved around 1975 to 76, he faced a daunting solo career in his late 30s. Rejected by labels for being too old, he persevered, performing in small venues until a Las Vegas booker urged him to aim higher. His breakthrough came with producer Larry Butler and the song Lucille, which became a massive hit, earned him a Grammy, and set him on the path to global stardom. From there, Kenny achieved over 60 top 40 hits across country and pop, with signature songs like The Gambler, Lady, and Islands in the Stream, the latter a beloved duet with Dolly Parton. The Gambler became so iconic it led to Emmy-nominated TV movies starring Kenny himself. His albums The Gambler and Kenny will later rank among the 200 most influential country records ever, and in 1986, he was voted favorite singer of all time in a USA Today and People poll. Beyond music, he acted in films and TV, including Six Pack and McShane, and co-founded the Kenny Rogers Roasters restaurant chain with former KFC CEO John Y. Brown Jr., though the U.S. locations eventually closed. The brand thrived in Asia. He continued making music into the 2000s, with his 2006 album Water and Bridges reaching the top of the charts. Even into his later years, Kenny toured tirelessly until his retirement in 2017, completing a career that spanned more than 6 decades and crossed genres from rock to jazz, country to pop. He did it all with heart, but behind the bright lights and applause, he also endured heartbreak, losing someone very close who had stood beside him through it all. A dear friend Kenny lost was Dottie West, and their bond went far beyond music. Together they created unforgettable hits like Every Time Two Fools Collide and Anyone Who Isn't Me Tonight, winning fans with their chemistry on stage while sharing a genuine friendship offstage. When Dottie went through a divorce and bankruptcy in the early 1990s, Kenny stood by her side, even giving her a car to help her get around. Tragically, on August 31st, 1991, that same car broke down while she was on her way to the Grand Ole Opry. A neighbor gave her a ride, but in the rush to get to the show, he lost control and crashed into a freeway divider. Dottie suffered severe internal injuries, underwent multiple surgeries, but sadly passed away just days later. Kenny never forgot her and often spoke about her legacy. In a 2014 Rolling Stone interview, he said one of his greatest wishes was for Dottie West to be inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame. That dream finally came true in 2018, 4 years later, when she was honored posthumously. Kenny marked the moment with a heartfelt Facebook post congratulating my friend, the late, very great Dottie West, ensuring her memory lived on. But loss was not Kenny's only challenge. In later life, he also had to fight for what he had rightfully earned. In 2012, he sued Capitol Records, claiming they had withheld nearly $400,000 in digital music sales revenue from platforms like iTunes. He argued that artists were promised 50% of profits from downloads, but companies were not honoring that deal. Other major acts, including the Allman Brothers, Rob Zombie, and Sister Sledge, joined similar lawsuits, exposing a widespread problem in the industry that experts said had cost artists billions. Even by 2020, streaming revenue remained unfairly divided, with most artists earning less than $250 a year despite billions generated by platforms. Kenny's fight showed that even legend had to stand up for fair treatment. Away from courtrooms and the stage, however, Kenny found peace on his Georgia estate, Beaver Dam Farms, where he raised a pet goat named Smitty. Given to him by a friend in 2008, Smitty became more than a farm companion. Kenny called the goat his center, a source of calm after decades of tours and fame. For a man accustomed to bright lights and constant applause, that grounding presence meant more than word could say. Still, while Smitty brought comfort, Kenny's personal life was filled with complexities of love, regret, and the search for balance beyond the spotlight. Kenny Rogers' personal life was marked by love, regret, and 5 marriages. He was married 5 times and had 5 children. His first marriage was to Janice Gordon in 1958, and they had a daughter, Carol Lynn, before divorcing in 1960. Just months later, he married his second wife, Jean, but that union ended by 1963. In 1964, Rogers wed Margot Anderson, and they had 1 child before divorcing in 1975. His 4th marriage, to actress Marion Gordon, lasted longer. They married in 1977, had a son named Christopher, but ended their marriage in 1993. His 5th and final marriage was to Wanda Miller in 1997, with whom he had twin sons. They remained together until his death. In his 2012 autobiography Luck or Something Like It, Rogers admitted his marriages failed largely because of his own choices, saying he had been driven and selfish, letting his career cost him personally. He emphasized that he truly loved each woman he married, but blamed himself and the demands of music for the breakups. His split with Marianne was particularly painful, as she recalled that despite his devotion, Rogers felt restless, experiencing what he described as a midlife crisis. Their divorce also carried a financial toll, with Marianne reportedly receiving around $60 million in the settlement. Despite earlier heartbreaks, Rogers found lasting love with Wanda, though their relationship drew attention because she was 28 years younger. Her parents were just 2 years younger than Rogers himself, leading to initial disapproval, though over time, acceptance grew. Rogers often called Wanda his soulmate and remained grateful she was a mother of his twin boys. By his retirement in 2015, at age 77, his sons were only 11. He admitted it was difficult to step away from performing, but his declining mobility and desire to spend more time with his children made the decision clear. Rogers shared that he and Wanda originally agreed not to have children, but when she turned 31, She changed her mind, and he agreed because he didn't want her to regret their life together. Still, he confessed deep worries about his age, acknowledging he would miss being present during the prime of his sons' lives. Regret extended to his older children as well. With his daughter Carol Lynn, born when he was 19, he chose to step back after his divorce so as not to disrupt her bond with her stepfather. His relationship with his son Kenny Rogers Jr. from his third marriage was strained, though things with Christopher, his son from Mary Ann, were more stable, with Rogers promising to remain a father despite distance. He often reflected on how raising his twin boys was what he did best as a parent, contrasting it with the time he missed with his older children. Rogers once admitted resentment over not being present for his older son's childhoods, especially when he saw the joy his younger boys had from his support at football games. Those experiences underscored the importance of fatherhood for him, even as he acknowledged not all of his decisions in life worked out as he hoped. Kenny Rogers ventured beyond music into business, though not everything turned out as he hoped. In 1991, he teamed up with the former CEO of KFC to launch Kenny Rogers Roasters, a restaurant chain built around the idea of serving rotisserie chicken and corn muffins as a healthy alternative to fried food. The concept gained attention, even receiving a mention on Seinfeld, but problems soon followed. Just a year after opening, the business was hit with a $10 million lawsuit from another company claiming the idea had been copied. Though Rogers' brand bought out the competitor, fast food rivals had already crowded the market. By 1998, the chain went bankrupt in the United States, and Rogers distanced himself from it, though about 200 locations survive in Southeast Asia. While his restaurant dream faded, his music endured. Rogers' career spanned more than 50 years, producing classics like Lucille, Lady, and The Gambler. Yet in his later years, his health declined. In 2018, midway through his farewell tour, he was forced to stop performing. Rumors about his condition grew until his team clarified that he had been hospitalized for dehydration in Georgia, assuring fans that he planned to stick around through the years to come. Sadly, just 10 months later, on March 20th, 2020, Rogers passed away at age 81. Surrounded by his wife Wanda Miller and his 5 children, he died peacefully at home under hospice care. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, no large public funeral could be held, and his family opted for a small private service, with plans to celebrate his life with fans later. After his death, tributes continued. His sister Sandy Rogers helped create a 2-hour documentary biography, Kenny Rogers, which included rare footage from his 2017 farewell concerts and interviews with close friends like Dolly Parton. For Sandy, it was an act of love. I would do anything for him. He has done so much for me personally and my family. She shared stories of their childhood, from Kenny drinking milk straight from the jug to spring break visits in Las Vegas where they saw him as more than a star, but as a brother. One of her fondest memories was attending his concert at Sam Houston State University, where their father unexpectedly walked unstage to bow alongside Kenny, prompting laughter from the family. Another came from recording background vocals with Kenny, where she and her twin jokingly asked for royalties after just 30 minutes in the studio. Kenny laughed, and the playful exchange became an inside family joke for years. Family, fame, and the people who meant the most were at the heart of Sandy Rogers' memories of her brother. She explained that Kenny's success opened many doors for their family, giving them opportunities to travel, meet famous people, and visit places they had never dreamed of, all because of him. One story she shared was about Di West, Kenny's longtime friend and music partner, who would often visit their mother in the country. Mama loved her and would take her fishing, Sandy recalled. But Di always showed up wearing high heels. Their mother would tell her, "You can't do that. You need to put on other shoes." Sandy laughed, saying only Di would wear heels to go fishing. She also spoke about Kenny's most famous song, The Gambler, calling it fun and powerful, and remembered a disc jockey once saying, "I have never known a singer who could take one song and make 5 movies out of it." But her favorite story was about Lucille. Their mother's name was Lucille, and when Kenny first played the song for Sandy, she told him, "Oh, that doesn't sound right to me. I don't think you'll do good with that." Later, the song earned $20 million, and Sandy admitted with a laugh, "So here I am eating crow." Toward the end of his career, Kenny often talked about retiring. He would say, "I'm going to retire next year," but when the year came, he never stopped. Sandy believed he didn't really want to retire, even though he knew he should. More than anything, he wanted to spend time with Wanda and their boys. During the filming of the documentary, Sandy said he was still doing well and even teased her about her new hair color, joking, "Why didn't you do it before?" Even in his final days, Kenny remained kind, thoughtful, and funny. 1 year after Kenny Rogers passed away, his family shared an emotional tribute. On March 20th, 2021, they posted a statement on social media signed by the Rogers family and Team KR, thanking fans for their support during such a difficult year. "It's so hard to believe it's been a year since Kenny left us," the message began. They admitted that some days were harder than others, but the love and kind words from fans had helped them through. Memories of Kenny brought both tears and laughter, and his presence was still felt deeply. "We know we will never stop missing him and will forever celebrate the person he was and his extraordinary musical legacy," the family wrote. They ended the note with hope, reminding fans, "We can all take some comfort in knowing the music lives on," and close with a #MusicMan. That same year, the 2021 Grammy Awards honored Kenny during the In Memoriam segment. Lionel Richie, his close friend, paid tribute by singing Lady, the ballad he had written for him, while other artists, including Bruno Mars, Anderson .Paak, and Brandi Carlile, performed to honor music legends who had passed. After Kenny's death in 2020, Richie had shared old photos of their time together on stage, writing, "Today I lost one of my closest friends. So much laughter, so many adventures to remember. My heart is broken.